So I started each one of these episodes like I don't know what's going on, even though obviously we know exactly what's going on, because it's not an accident podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, dude, I'm excited to have you. Eric Bosworth, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Insurance Elevated and Elevated Leads, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I thought it was just Insurance Elevated, but there's way more to this story that we're going to get into.
Yeah, because the entire reason Insurance Elevated is here is because of Elevated Leads. It was the step that I took in terms of content, branding, social media, every platform, like being able to generate a lead, give it to an agent, and for the agent to make a policy sale and make money, revenue, and then reinvest back into the lead. So Elevated Leads is the heartbeat of everything. That's what people don't see.
Dude, I mean, I've been obviously being in Tampa Bay, and this is a podcast for the people of Tampa Bay to really highlight some of the movers and shakers and some of the people that are making things happen. Bro, I've seen you for quite a while now, crushing it. I love your content. And really, I want to compliment you, and we'll get deeper into it. A lot of your content's been a lot more vulnerable, I would say, the last couple months.
So that was something that had to be self-taught, right? So, 3-4 years ago, I never wanted to tell my story. I never wanted to be vulnerable about what I went through at 12 years old, 15 years old, like all these different trials and tribulations that I went through, and be completely honest and susceptible to being judged, right? But then I realized, I was like, well, if I don't do that, and I don't make a change right now and show the world that I'm willing to resonate with anything because everybody has a sad fucking story. It's just when you make it, they want to hear about it. When you're broke, nobody gives a fuck. But when you make it, they want to hear it because they want to know that they can make it too. So I wanted to tell my story, and like, I'm just like, I've been fucked over, I've been betrayed, I've crawled through the grass, been bit by the snakes, but in order to get to the top of the building with the CEOs and the C-suite executives, I had to go through that. And everybody does. Doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, and where you came from. You have to get there if you really want to make it to the top. And to tell my story, it allows people that are either broke, in debt, about to go bankrupt, just got cheated on, just found out their son wasn't theirs. Like, it doesn't matter. We can all make it, but it just depends on the vehicle that you decide to attach yourself to, and in the community, right? So that matters. So that's why I love Tampa so much. That's why I put my headquarters here, because there's so many aspiring entrepreneurs that work together.
Tampa in the last 5 years, I would say, and we could go back even further than that, but it's been absolutely incredible. And one of the things one of my partners said to me probably about 6 months or a year ago, then one of my business partners, they said, they were buying an exotic car, and we'll get into your collection.
I love exotics. Yeah. You know that.
So he was going to buy an exotic car, and he's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Absolutely, dude. Like, go buy the car, like no question and stuff." And obviously, it's no secret. I've been very blessed, and I have 2 Lamborghinis. And
we've watched it, Kevin. Yeah, even myself, like, we watched it.
I've been lucky and very, very privileged and blessed through hard work. One of the things he said to me, though, is like, you carry yourself in a certain way and you have these nice things and people are still rooting for you. And and it just was a huge moment for me. And I put you in that same column. Like, because you share your story and you have all these blessings and these nice things and stuff like that, it's not like, hey, there's another, rich guy or something like that. It's like, no, we're cheering for that dude. We know that dude. He was one of us. He rose and did what he did. And yeah, he made it happen. Like, don't, celebrate that guy. And we should celebrate people that are making it happen. So good for you, man.
Yeah, they always talk about like, well, strangers will become your customers and friends before friends will like become your customer or whatever. You know why? Because your friends know you. They know your bad vices. They know what you've been through. They know where you're going to fuck up or where you will eventually like not understand a certain scenario or situation. So when you decide to commit to something, right, it's going to take longer for your friends and family to understand how good you are at something, because you got to prove to them, because they've watched you your whole life. They've watched everything you fucked up on. They've watched everything that you've made a bad decision with, right? So they need a little bit longer. Now, strangers don't know that. All they see is your highlight reels. Mm-hmm. So strangers, so that facade, all that shit that they talk about, yeah, that's cool, but it doesn't matter. You want everybody. You want your friends. You want your family. You want strangers. You want everybody to create a brand. You want half the country to fucking hate you. You want half the country to love you, but you want them to both pay you in some form, right? So regardless.
Whether it's money or attention.
Exactly, right? Because attention always brings me money.
Of course.
So regardless, your persistency, your consistency matters. Whether it's your family, your friends, strangers, it does not matter. You stay you. regardless of any situation that you go through, and everybody will tag along at some point because you want to create a rocket ship and you want people to attach to that rocket ship, and some are going to attach to a certain amount of time. Some are going to be with you for the long run. It does not matter. You need to maintain your course.
So tell me about Eric in his, early 20s and just finishing high school, starting, embarking on that adult life. Give me that breakdown.
Man, so that breakdown is that's a loaded question. Right?
Fair enough.
That is a loaded thing to ask me, only because I have told my story a few times on a few podcasts. And going through high school was I was a very popular guy. I had long hair, right? Contrary to
not
popular
so much
belief,
anymore. Yeah.
right? Got a tattooed hairline now, just to make sure I stay in the game as long as I can. But before I had long hair, man, when I was, my parents got divorced at 11 years old. I found out really quickly how bad my parents were at parenting. My mother's name is Tequila. She was actually born on Cinco de Mayo, and she lived up to her name. So when my parents got divorced, she met a multimillionaire. I guess he was like a part owner of Blockbuster. He was also part owner of Florida Refuse, made a bunch of fucking money. I remember homecoming when I was in like 9th or 10th grade. I borrowed his 745 Li BMW.
Wow.
To take my little date to homecoming. But shortly after that, she went to jail. He did like cocaine, whatever, pills, all this other shit. And I was just like, man. So I moved in with my grandmother in the house that actually we grew up in. When my parents got divorced, my mother got the house. So I moved in that house with my grandmother when my mother went to jail. And from there, I knew I had to make money quickly because I didn't know my dad. So my dad was sending child support, but I didn't get the child support because I didn't realize my sisters and my mother were forging the signature to cut the child support checks and not give them to me. So I had to start selling candy in high school and cutting hair. That's how I learned how to make money at 12, 13 years old. And because I wasn't talking to my father at that time because of how bad he was bad-mouthing my mother after the divorce. So I went all through high school selling bootleg Air Forces, Coogee shirts, Ed Hardy, all those different brands
Hustling.
back then.
Yeah.
Hustling, man. Candy, cutting hair, everything I could do. I would even use my sob story. And when I was like 13, 14, my grandmother decided to get her own apartment. So I had moved in with a homeboy of mine named Gregorio. And his parents were Mexican. And I used to go to Mexico with him every summer to play soccer for U17 Pachuca. Like I played soccer for a long time. I tried to go pro. And I would go to Mexico with them every summer, learn Spanish, everything. But while I was doing that, I was learning how to cut hair more, still selling my products, everything. So all through high school, I was a hustler, man. I knew I had to get the money. So finally, when I got out of high school, I opened up a clothing store called Underground Fashion and Barbershop because the building was halfway underground. So the air conditioning was cheap. The rent was cheap, everything in Haines City, Florida, Polk County, right?
God,
in the
Haines
hood.
City. Yeah,
Haines City,
okay.
man. I'm from Haines City.
Okay.
So we opened up that, and it was cool because I was the one that had the idea for a clothing store barbershop, and one of my best friends, Javier, was like, hey, man, let's make it happen. So he kind of had the money behind him because he was a hustler like me in high school too. So we definitely became good friends because of that. So we opened up the clothing store and barbershop, worked out great, and then ended up having a kid with a girl when I was 19, found out a year later that he was not my son. Found out she cheated on me, and the dude that she cheated on me with was a really good friend of mine's brother who kind of looked like me. So obviously the son looked like me. So that was my turning point. And I kind of went through depression at that time. I lost the clothing store, lost the barbershop, went through a lot of shit. And about 6 months later, a friend of mine named Nathan Trim, which is a very affluent business owner now. It's funny because we used to hustle together in high school, and he's still doing really well. And I hope he hears this. But he was the one that got me the job working for Sprint in a mall in Lakeland, Florida, where everybody still went because it was a mall. So it was very embarrassing for me to work out of a kiosk at that point after I lost everything. Everybody's looking at me like, Eric, like E-Money, there's all this shit. And I'm selling phones out of a fucking kiosk, greeting people over. But then I went
still
from
me, baby. You want free weekends?
Exactly. So I went from sales associate to assistant manager to general manager to district manager. And, worked my way up with that company where I was the number one manager in the country for Sprint and T-Mobile when T-Mobile was buying out Sprint at that time, 2016, 2017. But then in 2017, when the merger finally went through with T-Mobile and Sprint, they cut my pay in half. I was making almost $200,000 a year. They cut it almost to $100,000. I was living in a penthouse in Tampa, 915.
Yeah.
Penthouse in 915.
Okay.
I was living a certain lifestyle. I was balling, I was chilling, having a great time, thought I was on top of the world, had an ego.
You were what, 20-something?
I was 27 at the time, 26, 27. Making $200,000 a year. I was living, bro. Yeah. I was living. But then, everything got fucked over with T-Mobile and, the third party dealer that I was working for, cut my pay. And I was like, well, fuck this. I'm out. Like, I had helped you guys scale 33 locations, and I started believing in myself a little bit more with mentors that I had. And I was like, yo, fuck this. I quit. So I went and did medical sales down in Palm Beach for about 8-9 months, cold calling, learned tonality, learned when to be enthusiastic, when to be authoritative, when to be everything on the phone as I was in person. And it was a very hard learning curve because I was a very in-person like sales guy.
Were they giving you educational materials to do that as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. They were very, yeah. I was Access Medical Labs down in Palm Beach. Even though we had a really big fallout, like they had a great program. And they really like put myself in a position to learn how to reinvent myself over the phone when I used to do it in person and cold call. That was the biggest thing that I learned, was doing over the phone cold calling. So I learned how to do that. What I was doing that, I was working with insurance guys and doctors' offices. So I started meeting health insurance agents. And these guys were making double the money I was, and they were half as stupid. I was like, well, I'm twice as smart as y'all, and I'm making half the money. I'm going to go do what y'all doing. So I left that to go do health insurance for a year, but I left Tampa to go do it. So I moved back from Palm Beach to Tampa. And about 3 weeks later, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do health insurance in Tampa. I'm going to leave because this is where my vices are. I'm going to go out. I'm going to party. Because I had a lifestyle, I had a penthouse, all that. So I moved to Dallas, Texas, did that for a year, finished top 25 in the country with a captive agency. They own my book. They own everything. But I was running ads. I was creating teams. So I was like, you shouldn't own my book. So I left. And while I was there, I created a company called Elevated Health because I was just selling health insurance. 2 products with United Healthcare. And I was like, one night I had this crazy business idea on a whiteboard, and I showed 5 people in Texas. And I was like, I'm going to move back to Florida, and I'm going to call it Insurance Elevated. And I'm going to do this, this, and this. And here's my 3-year plan and all of this and all of that. And 3 people said, all right, I'm going to move in with you. I'm going to go.
Really?
And I broke their leases. I put them all in U-Hauls, and I made them all listen to the audiobook Relentless by Tim Grover as we were driving back. We drove back. I rented a 10 by 10 office in Orlando, Florida with 3 of us, their girlfriends, my ex, all of us running the business. And I didn't know shit about fuck. Like, I'm just figuring out as I go. I didn't know contracts. I got fucked over. I didn't know nothing about the industry, man. I was betrayed by people that were above me. I didn't even know they were using me. None of this. So finally, a year later, I was doing so much business that I started meeting other affluent people.
So this is like 2019?
This was 2022.
22. Okay.
Oh, yeah, bro.
So real quick, before we get into 2022, I want to take a step back, and I want our listeners to...
Yeah, so I went a couple years where I had a sabbatical. You know, I didn't really want to talk about what I did during that couple
I'm not
years.
even... Oh,
I'll talk about it. I don't give a fuck. But I was kind of like fast forwarding for time purposes. Got it.
So I want to take the audience back for a second and really highlight what you said. So you said that you felt like you were self-aware enough to know that you had to leave Tampa at that time to be successful. It doesn't mean that you weren't going to return, but you knew that you were going to leave because that's what you needed to do.
Well, because here's what happened. When T-Mobile came in and bought Sprint out, I was making, 189, 191,000 a year. They were like, yo, we're only going to pay you 109. So it's like that lifestyle, right? Just immediately, I got fucked over. This is my time to really show everybody who knows me and knows my capability that I'm the man, right? And so I had to put my humble hat on. I had to go into a new industry, and I got my 215 license. I got contracted to work in Tampa, but I had a really bad onboarding between a few people that brought me on. I was like, man, I'm not really feeling this. So then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to selling phones because I had moved back from Palm Beach to Tampa. So Verizon had rehired me. So for about a month and a half, I was working with Verizon, working from home, making like 12, 13,000 a month, decent. But I was like, man, I know I'm capable of more. I was making great money. I want something more fulfilling. Like, I want to be the owner of what I do. I want to be uncaptive. I want to be a 1099. Like, I want to be my own self-employed individual. This individual called me from Texas, say, hey, man, I've seen a little bit about what you're doing on social media. Like, I see you're putting out content. And this was back in 2021.
So you were putting out sales content?
Yeah, I was putting out sales content in January of 2021. It was trash, but I was putting it out. I was trying. I had no coach or nothing like that. I was just doing, what other industries were showing me.
That's when everybody was kind of just getting into that, like the Gary Vee.
Exactly. Like, but nobody was really doing it in insurance, right? Because insurance was more face-to-face with life insurance. See, COVID changed all of that.
Okay.
So at the same time that I seen other industries really taking off with content that nobody was doing in insurance, I also noticed that the insurance carriers in life insurance decided to have online applications. So I was like, oh shit, this is a pivotal move right here. Nobody's really putting themselves on camera, showing their tattoos, showing their jewelry, showing their fucking veins that are coming out of their neck because of their conviction, their passion, right? And I was like, oh, I'm the first one to do this. So at first I sucked, but at least I kept trying. So this guy out of Texas noticed me, broke my lease, flew me out to Texas. I got rid of all my vices, all the friends that I was hanging out with that wasn't about shit. Moved out to Texas, went sober, almost 12 months, man, 8 months. I went completely sober. And I was in the gym. I was focused on my business 12 to 15 hours a day. Like, it was so bad that Friday nights, I was still at the office at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And my agency owner that like I was working with in Texas would drive by the office, like going to dinner, and see the light on and call me and say, motherfucker, go home. Like, you're going to burn yourself. I was like, no, bro. Like, I had to put my humble hat on and reinvent myself. And I knew I was in a new industry that I needed to learn everything about. So I knew if I put my 10,000 hours in faster than everybody else, I would be ahead of everybody else. So I did that for 1 year in the health insurance industry. And that's why I decided, and I had like it click, like if I sell everything, annuities, life insurance, health insurance, everything, and get contracted with every single carrier, and I'm uncaptive where I own my book and I can do whatever I want with my organization, meaning pay them more, residuals, bonuses, overrides, all this stuff, that I can create a real brand here. And that's when I decided insurance, elevated. Instead of elevated health, elevated life, I said insurance, elevated. For all insurance needs in terms of your 215 license, life, health, annuities. And when I moved back, started with those 4 guys, had a 10 by 10 office, got betrayed by some of the closest people to me with contracts, all this, because I didn't know anything. So as I was going, I just kept learning, and I kept saying, hey, just get the fuck out of my way. Like, I'm going to make this happen. And every time I was just shunning people like, no, I'm out. And I ended up figuring everything out, man. And fast forward, 2.5 years later, our first, 2022, we did $2.5 million in sales. 2023, we did 29 million. 2024, we're paced out to do 88 to 89 million between life and health insurance.
You've grown
from
almost 45 times in 2.5 years.
So from 3 agents with their girlfriends and everything, we now have 840. We will do 59 million this year in issued paid commissions to agents. Just on the life insurance side, we'll do 17 million in issued paid health insurance premiums to agents. We will sign up a total of 9,500, which is what we're projected to do on ACA clients for Obamacare. We will also sign up another 2,700 clients on America's Choice, which are your ACA compliant plans outside of that. And then also we'll do another 4 million in annuities. And also my lead generation company generates over 21,000 leads a month right now. And I think I spend 106,000 a week just in Meta marketing. Meta.
Yeah.
And it ain't we. I mean, this is me. Like, I'm spending that. Now it's we in terms of the organization, the production, the performance. But this is what I risked. I spent $660,000 in Meta in 2022 from March 28th when I got contracted and I started Insurance Elevated until November 11th of 2022 EDC. I spent $660,000 on Meta, and I was $168,000 in debt because I was personally producing, covering it. I called my VP, Ian Brook. I said, man, we got about 3 weeks left. I was like shedding a tear. Mind you, we were staying in the same apartment complex on the same floor. So he came and checked on me after, but I was like, bro, we're done. Like, I don't have anything left. Like, I don't have any business funding left. I don't have anything. We're done. So him and a few other of my top guys sent me to Paris by myself. I said, bro, just get away. I've never been to Europe. I'm 31 years old at this point. Never been to Europe. They sent me over there. I'm walking to the Louis Vuitton store because they sent me money to like go purchase something for myself because I never bought anything for myself. And they were like, yo, go take care of yourself. I look at my phone. My phone starts popping off, right? My Telegram. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? These guys are like, bro, like something's going on. One of your ads are going viral. Like, we're getting calls like crazy. So one of my ads got 3.4 million views in 24 hours. And it changed my life. I was $168,000 in debt. 6 weeks later, I put $100,000 in my bank account after paying the debt off in 6 weeks. One of my agents made $77,000. The other one made $89,000. Ian made $89,000. Denny Gaines made $77,000, and changed my life forever. So instead of just trying to ride the wave on that one ad, I 10x'd my content creation. I 10x'd my investing into everything: lead generation, content creation, PR, Caesar. Everything that we did that we were talking about, and it just worked. And I just started being myself more and more on camera, and here we are, talking to attorney Kevin.
I'm like, my mind is turning right now. There's so many things I want to unpack. First thing that I want to unpack, I want to go all the way back. And you said that you were working 12 to 15 hours a day.
Absolutely. I didn't get to the office later than 7:45 a.m. because you can legally prospect clients at 8:01 a.m. This is why I know I'm cut from a different cloth, right? I have 840 agents. I have about 55 that engage every day before 8 a.m. out of 840. Even in my organization, we're statistically the fastest growing life insurance organization in the country from 2022 to 2023 to 2024. Statistically, we are. Everybody else can say they're the best, but men lie, women lie data doesn't. We can show you the data. We have it, right? So, but even with that, I only have 50 to 55 people that engage before 8:01 a.m. And when I started the business, before I had the lead company, before I had all the systems, the processes, the ecosystem, the CRM, the new agent onboarding, the VA team, my general manager, my CTO, my CFO, my COO, like I didn't have a C-suite team. Like this was just us. And I was at the fucking office at 7:45 a.m. every single day because I spent 15 minutes practicing my tonality. Have you ever played a fucking football game without practicing? Have you ever played a soccer game without practicing? Why would you take your business any different? Right? You need to get to work 15, 20 minutes prior. You need to have your coffee, have everything. So 8:01, you're ready to go. You're warmed up. So you're legally prospecting your clients at 8:01. And you can legally prospect Eastern time until 8 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., as a business owner, you don't have a 9 to 5. At 8 p.m., from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., you need to work Central. And then from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., you need to work West Coast. See, so if you're really, truly committed about this business with what I do, you work those hours strategically with our CRM, our dialer, our tech, our prompt engineered AI, and you can make an enormous amount of money, man. And all of it's yours because you own your book of business from day one. So on month 13, you get your residuals, your overrides, your as earned, your bonuses, and then it just starts to compound.
What do you think about the mantra with burning out? You mentioned that.
I think the mantra with burning out only matters when you're talking about physically burning out. I think mentally, if you truly care about what you do and you genuinely know what can come out of the opportunity and the vehicle that you're in, I don't think you could ever mentally burn out. Did I fucking hate what I did in the beginning? I absolutely did. But I watched the guy that was already on month 13 or month 25, or month 37.
You knew where you were going.
And I knew, I was like, oh, well, so I might not have, and I fucking hate it. Like you have to embrace the suck. Right. And I 100%. Did that. I did that, man. Even when I went to Texas for a year and I finished top 25 in the country, when I left, I lost all my residuals, all my bonuses, all my overrides. You know why? Because the company that I was working with was captive, meaning they owned my book of business. I didn't own it. So I had to walk away from everything, but I knew there was a way bigger idea out there. So I had to do everything that I did that first year. I had to do it for another year. So I watch these agents come in, even agents that I bring on, and I give them the entire ecosystem. I have worked so hard to take the critical thinking out of the new. So Kevin, when you hire a new attorney, right, that just got out of law school, isn't it in your best interest to just give them the playbook of all the failures that you've had, all the successes, all the CRM that you use, how you negotiate with clients, everything, right? Just give them the fucking playbook because they're going to get from point A to point B a lot faster.
I talk to people, I'm going to teach you the quickest way to make money.
Exactly.
I'm going to cut through all of the nonsense. I'm going to give you all of the resources that I have developed over the years, and you are going to have it on a silver platter, and we're going to make you as successful as you want to be.
That's called an ecosystem, correct? Right? You just plug and play. That is what I've created. See, a lot of times in the insurance industry, you have uplines who make a fuck ton of money because they give people contracts, but they don't do shit for them, right? All the time I get agency owners that call me, oh, hey, man, I got 125% comp here. Like, you better match that or beat it or I'm not going to move out. I said, I don't give a fuck. Stay right there, brother.
Enjoy.
You're calling me because you're not making money. So 125% of zero is still zero. You come with me at 100%, you're going to make $50,000 a month because I'm going to give you the drip text, the drip emails, the 52-week email campaign on the client retention process that we have, my customer experience team, my CTO, my technology assistants, my VAs, my supporting ticketing system. I've created everything for the average person to come in with no money and make $10,000 as quickly as possible. I'm not a comp proposition, I'm a value proposition. So you come with me and say, hey, well, I'm going to pay you 130%. And then I come in and say, well, I'm going to pay you 100. Oh, well, this guy's going to give me 30% more. Well, that guy doesn't know shit about fuck. So go ahead. I'd actually rather you go to that guy and then 6 months later call me because you fucking suck still. And you're going to come over and work with me. And as soon as you come with me, you're going to have a higher level of appreciation. Because when you come with me, you're going to know what it took over there. And I'm going to make it 10 times easier. And you're still going to work the work ethic that you should work, even though I make it 10 times easier instead of becoming complacent because you're so appreciative because of what you came from.
I think some people are just built different. Like people ask me, I've been asked in interviews before, like what motivates you? What drives you? Winning. I don't care about money. I don't care about things. I don't care about anything. It's about winning.
Yeah.
And then now it's become about helping people.
Yeah, because it's speed to impact,
Correct.
right? So I went through something last year, and I think people that live in Tampa probably have seen that, and they still see it every now and then because I like to fucking stunt when I like to, just because I like to, make my mark. Everybody does when they have a certain level of success. But last year there was a certain point in time where I became a millionaire, like a liquid millionaire. Like I got $1 million in my checking account. Not those guys that say they're multimillionaires who sell courses to tell people how to become millionaires that were never a millionaire until they bought the courses to become a millionaire. And that's how they became a millionaire. No, I'm telling you, like I put $1 million in my fucking checking account and I woke up and my CFO calls me, Joe Overton from CFO Associates. You know Joe, him and Rolando and everything. And he calls me, he's like, Eric, you're a liquid millionaire now. And my entire life, I had been working towards like becoming this millionaire, thinking it was gonna like change my whole life. And dude, when he told me that, and I did this halfway because I just wanted to prove every motherfucker who had ever betrayed me or talked shit about me wrong. And literally it meant nothing. When he called me, I was like, okay, like what do I do now? So I found out through my therapist.
Make another one.
Exactly, make another one, right? So I found out through my therapist, I'm like, why am I so like unhappy for making this million? Like, why is this not like changing or whatever? My therapist's like, Eric, because you walk around every day with an impending dome of doom around your head. You think the world's going to just like fuck you over any day, but that's also what pulls you closer to understanding that you need to wake up every day with making a massive impact, because if you don't make enough impact and shit gets taken away from you, you're going to feel like you left more on the table and you're going to regret your whole life. So that like meant something to me. And I was like, okay, well, so instead of like being in survival mode and thinking, okay, well, I'm just trying to survive that first million, I went into impact mode. Like how many people can I show how to do exactly what I did? And even my mentors, man, I mean like mentors that are worth hundreds of millions. I was like, Eric, why are you showing everybody your fucking bank account? Why are you showing people what you're spending? Why are you telling people why you're doing shit? I was like, why the fuck would I not show people exactly what I do on a day-to-day basis that want to be in my exact position? You know what they told me? They're like, Eric, because when you keep creating mediocrity across your business, they don't get compensation raises. So you continue to make a lot of money. So you continue to recruit mediocrity. You make way more profitability. I said, bro, this is what I'm in. Like at this point, that's not what I'm here for. That's boring. Hanging out with a bunch of mediocres? Absolutely fucking not. I want to hang out with people that are trying to get it just like me. I'm trying to go to dinner with a $5,000 dinner bill because we don't give a fuck. And anybody's credit card can be pulled out and take care of the bill because we all have it. That to me is the definition of true success, because I'm happy because when I develop, like I have an autoimmune disorder called neutropenia, right? Like I have low white blood cells. So I get sick faster than other people. So I have to take care of myself. What if something like crazy happens to me one day? I get this crazy sickness. I'm in the hospital and nobody's there to hold my fucking hand. Do you think I care about all the monies that I made when I'm laying in the hospital and nobody's holding my hand saying, hey, Eric, it's going to be okay. We're here. So speed to impact is what matters, because the more people you impact, the more probability you have of people being at your hospital bed whenever you're fucked up. And that's what I believe in now, at least.
I believe in that 100%. I've had, probably the last year or so, I became partner and shareholder of my firm and 32 years old, which is insane.
Yeah, bro. We've watched it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And, people are like, what's next, or what? And I'm like, I just want to keep getting better at what I do. And I want to create the best culture that I can at my office. And I want to keep rising people up. And I really do mean that. Like you're exactly right. It gets to the point where it's like, I can buy so much shit I can do, but if you're standing next to nobody at the end of the day, like, who cares?
It's, bro, it's just not fulfilling, man. Like, I'm being vulnerable right now, telling you guys, like, I have a therapist, I have a life coach. Well, I call her a life coach, and I had actually a life coach prior. She was a lot older than me. She worked with a lot of CEOs, founders, C-suite executives. But what I found about her is I think she had been doing it so long that she thought she had the answer before she listened to the question. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I was getting her telling me more than she was listening. And I found this new therapist named Shay. She's in Tampa as well. You guys are welcome to look her up, but she's more my age and she understands like my vocabulary, right? My vulnerability, like who I am as a man right now, my relationships, my friendships, everything. And it's like, we just talk. It's like, I just go there to talk and have a conversation, and it allows me to relieve some stress. Like I love golf because golf is like my number one stress reliever. Like I was golfing earlier today, seeing deer. Like I was at TPC Tampa. I was having a great time. I was with some colleagues of mine. We were talking about business. So we were actually making it impactful while we were there. But I was also out in nature, like being able to relieve some stress. But also when I go to my therapist, I relieve my stress. It's not that like they're going to give me the secret fucking sauce or answer. It's that I just get to talk to somebody who has an unbiased opinion. Do you know how many yes men I have around me, Kevin?
Oh, I can imagine.
How many people are like, yeah, bro, yeah, just even if I give my opinion, oh, yeah. Like I need somebody to be like, no, Eric, no. Like, that it's unbiased, because I have so many yes men, because it's so expected now for me to take care of like everybody around me, because I have that level of authority and success, that it's like, damn, bro, like, sometimes I like those, which I get those text messages randomly from, certain agencies and agency owners that work with me. Like, hey man, I appreciate everything you do. Like, thank you so much. I would not be in the position that I'm in. And I love that. Like that, bro. Everybody has their love languages, right? I'm scratch my back and say you're fucking proud of me. Words of affirmation and physical touch. Like that's my thing. You give me that, man, you got me for life. And I'm willing to give you 10 times more than you're ever willing to give me, because I like it as a competition. I always love to give more, give, to where you never catch up. If you're a good friend of mine and you provide value, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever the case may be.
For me, it's become working out again. I fell in love with working out. And it's similar to your story. My trainer, he goes to me, he says, oh, we're going to do this now. And I go, it was like one of our first or second sessions, and I've been with him like 4 months now. And I said to him, listen, man, this is 1 hour a day where I don't have to tell anybody what to do. I get told what to do. This is my favorite hour of the day, other than being at home with my wife. But that's I love you, sweetheart. This is a different story. But I said, please, like it is. I want to be around professionals. I want to be around smarter than people than me. I want to be around hustlers, and that's so important, I think, for people to strive to be around better people. And then one of the questions you asked earlier is like, when you hired a new associate, at my firm, we really don't hire new associates. We hire experienced people, the best of the best. The trial attorney that we just hired, she's a complete badass. She's 20 years experience. She's a killer. And I'm like, and we're excited to have her. And so we want the best quality people around us. And I think like, I want to find the quickest $15 an hour employee I can find, or whatever the minimum wage is. You're going to get what you pay for. I promise you. You're going to get exactly what you pay for. So I have questions, but you've answered most. You've absolutely.
I definitely go in detail, man. I definitely go in detail.
So I think one of the questions I think we'll go into now, in track with everything, was there a moment in the last couple of years that you're like, I'm successful, or there was something like, and I'll give you an example for me. For me, when I started making money, I'm like, I can go and I can take my wife to dinner, wherever I want. It doesn't matter, anytime, any restaurant or anything like that. Was there a moment like that for you where you're like?
I think that was April or May area, where my fractional CFO, Joe Rolando, they introduced me to Dan Sutton, now my financial advisor, where we kind of walked in there and he told me kind of what he was going to do, my risk assessment, how much money we wanted to allocate towards, Bitcoin and Tesla and United, like all these different things that we're doing. And I was sitting there and I was like, that's when it hit me, right? Like he's like, hey man, you want a drink? He had scotch, whiskey, all this. And I'm sitting there like, it's like 5 p.m. on a Friday. And he's like, yeah, I got a boat. He's like, we can go, we go on the boat, whatever, golf. And he didn't ask me for like, oh, you got to throw in money. Like, it's just like, these are relationships where it's like, okay, this is crazy. And he was like, hey man, here's what we're going to do. We're not even going to take like your full amount of money. We're going to take this much and we're going to do this, and that. And I started realizing, I was like, fuck man, like I have capital now that if even the biggest recession or depression or whatever the case hit, I have enough to 10x my business on the up and coming route whenever, recessions take that turn to go back up, or depressions, whatever the case may be, to where I can 10x, 20x, like where I can take care of a lot more people that aren't in that same situation because of the safe routes that I'm going with my money. That is what hit me. like where I said, I can bring
You had security,
but not only for myself, but for my generals, like the people that have been most loyal, like to where even if they make a couple mistakes, like I got them.
I can keep the ship afloat.
I can keep the ship afloat with marketing, like budgets, like all of it, expertise, you know, like that was what hit me. Like I'm literally moving money around to keep it safe, create like that 5 to 8% compounding interest off the money where 6, 8, 10 months down the road, shit hits the fan, everybody goes crazy, you know, banks go bankrupt, whatever. I got a certain amount of money in my safe. I got guns. I got everything. Like I got property, real estate. Like we're ready, but we're not just ready for me and my close-knit family or friend. Like we're ready for hundreds of people to be able to still take care of them through the worst and darkest times. That is what changed my perspective where it's like, oh, I've made it. Like I've made it. And then you have the private equity firms that over the last 3 months that have been blowing my phone up, trying to buy my business at, 4, 6, even 8x multiple. Even with how expensive the money is right now, they're still trying to buy my business, and I don't want to sell because as soon as you sell to private equity, you lose everything. Like they want to, they want to thin everything out, especially these private equity companies that want to go IPO. So they're making these pre-IPO deals, promising all these fake like fuck that. I want to run this shit up and I want to be a multi-billion-dollar organization. Insurance Elevated, mark my words right here, Kevin, will be worth $1 to $4 billion in the next 36 months. Mark my words. And when I say that will be worth it, it's because that wealth will be spread out over our agency owners, our agents, or, our top investors, everything, which mind you, we don't have one investor right now. It's been all me.
Incredible.
All me. Like no capital, no VCs, no nothing. Just like I've been making it fucking happen and figuring it the fuck out. So when people come in and they try to, swing their stuff and be like, oh, well, I can do it. I don't care, bro. I don't need that. Like everything we're doing right now, like next year, we're projected to do 114.7 million in issued paid commissions to agents and myself next year alone, based on our projections.
That's incredible.
On just the life insurance side.
That's incredible.
Not even health. So imagine how many lives that will change, not just with my agents, but their families, right? Their kids. It's massive. And that's the only thing I keep doing this for.
You think about that, and a lot of people forget is the economic impact that a company like yours has, or a large conglomerate where it's like, I'm putting, to use your word, ecosystem, I'm putting almost $115 million out there that people can buy homes and buy cars and put their kids in school and clothe their kids and feed their kids and feed their families and stuff like that. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
It's even more incredible, so a couple months or about a month and a half ago, I went to Italy for 10 days. I was posting a lot of it on my social media. I was invited to the Andrea Bocelli Foundation, right? The gentleman that sings, that's super famous. And it was at a mansion in Forte dei Marmi, Italy. And there was very affluent people there. I can't even mention some of the names that were there, but they allowed me to even get up there and speak. I posted on my Instagram and donate $10,500 to charity and it not miss a beat. Like the fact that I can do that is like beyond me, right? Every month I find some type of charity to invest in. And it's funny because a certain gentleman was just talking to me earlier while I was driving here. Do you know Travis Doodles?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, super famous YouTube. Gives a lot of money out. Homeless people. Just does all these different parodies on social media directly geared towards giving away, right? And he reaches out.
Is he like the kid Charlie? Have you seen that kid?
Charlie.
I think his name's Charlie. It might be something like that. And
not sure.
Anyway, but yeah, I get where you're
Travis is from Tampa. He has 12 million, I don't know, some millions of YouTube
subscribers.
I know.
Is he like a thinner kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he sends me a personalized.
And he draws and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Personalized video of me. Eric, God spoke to me, said, I need to come to you. We need to do a charity event, which last year we did the turkey drive. We donate. We didn't donate. We raised $25,000. My own organization raised over $5,000. Me, Tom Bell, Chris Vasilakis, a few of the guys in Tampa, the guys from Tampa Entrepreneurs, right? Simon.
I remember.
Yep. So Joe, all of them. So we did that, and then we raised another $20,000 when we did the toy drive, and we actually went to Walmart with the U-Haul and like drove the little bikes all through Walmart. Did a whole content. Like that's what we do this for too, man. Because you have to understand. People think that the life that you and I live right now is so far-fetched, but it's like all we ever did was commit and execute at a higher level than a lot of people. We're not smarter than anybody. We committed to executing at a higher level for more hours in a day, every single day, consistently and persistently for a longer amount of time. That's it. And that's what people need to understand. Like, we're not like, dude, I'm not that smart. Like, I'm kind of stupid when it comes to like data analytics. So you know what I did? I hired a data scientist. But you know how I did it? I worked my fucking ass off to accumulate the money to be able to hire people that were a lot smarter at doing things than I was. You've heard that from all your major influencers and business owners that have built big businesses, is they have hired people to take over things that they had too much control in at a certain point in time that they weren't as smart in as those people.
I said I was going to, similar to your story, I said I was going to have $1 billion law firm. And I said it probably 3 or 4 years into practicing. I was like, I don't have nearly everything figured out like those guys do, but I'm not afraid to reach out. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. And it's the same thing. You have to make those affirmations. You have to put out those goals. You have to speak those things into the universe.
Yeah.
Because it's like, again, it comes down to mediocrity. Who wants that around themselves? So many people, and you have to have a starting point. I don't want to discount that. And I know there's a lot of, hate on the money, but it's like, so many people are like, yeah, I just want to make $5,000 a month.
They want to say that, but they're not even willing to put the first 20 hours in to learn about their profession.
Yeah. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah. When's the last time you've been to a library? Like, how many YouTube videos did you watch? Yeah.
What personal development book have you read last or listened to last?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's so many free resources out there, and, you have to speak those things into existence, and then you have to follow through.
Absolutely.
That's the 20% of speaking into an existence. Yeah, I'm going to do X. And then here's what I'm going to do. And talking about our friend Caesar, he was like, when we first started working together, he was like, what are the things in that you follow on social media that you like? And I was like, well, I like people that work out. I have people that have nice cars. I like people that, get up early and do all those things. He's like, why aren't you doing that shit? And I was like, well, I mean, I can't. And he's like, no. Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing those things? Why aren't you getting up at, I try to get up at 4:30. It's really hard, folks, okay?
But why aren't I'm not a 4:30 guy. I'm a 6:45 to 7:45 guy.
Why aren't you, but you're doing that every day.
Yeah.
Why aren't you going to the gym? Why aren't you, dressed in the part? Why aren't you, all of those different things? You're talking all this stuff. And then it's like, are you living by those non-negotiables? And it's so important. I want to get into the scaling because 840 agents is obviously no easy feat.
Yep.
When did you think that you had the, algorithm correct where it's like, okay, once we had like 20 to 30 agents, onboarding was like, we knew what we needed to do?
I knew I had that when I had a good general manager that knew how to contract and change hierarchies and comp changes better than anybody else I had prior, because what shifted was I was making such a wave for myself with everything that I was doing manually that people from other agencies started noticing, well, there was a lot of other agencies that started going backwards while I was still going massively forward. So there were other agencies that were laying off administrative assistants, general managers, et cetera. So there was one that decided to reach out to me. Her name is Cynthia Serrano. She's still my executive assistant now and the GM of my headquarters here in Tampa. And she kind of changed a lot for me. It was like December of last year, November last year. She called me. I didn't even know who she was. She was like, hey, I got your number. I'm like, how do you have my number? She's like, well, this agency that is going backwards always has your fucking name in their mouth. Always talking shit. Oh, this fucking guy thinks this shit doesn't stink. Oh, this guy, but yet they're copying everything that you're doing, Eric. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that's a great compliment. She was like, well, they can't pay me because they're not making money and I'm making this amount a month. I'm like, well, how about I just pay you $1,000 more than that amount a month? Actually, I think I paid her $2,000 more than that amount a month. And you come over with me. She said, abso-fucking-lutely, I'm in. And she came in and she's been a phenomenal piece to the puzzle ever since. And that's when I knew I could scale, as well as getting into other platforms with my lead company. So I was only on Meta. I was producing about 13 to 15,000 leads a month on Meta. And Meta, there's only so many eyeballs that you can put on your ads. And I had like 50 million eyeballs on my ads in the last 18 months. And I was starting to not create like the quality that I wanted because I'm just retargeting the same people. So what I did was I went on to YouTube. I went on to YouTube a month ago.
50 million
eyeballs in 18 months. I've spent $7.9 million in ads in 18 months. So that's what people don't see. Like everybody wants to build
out of your pocket.
Out of my fucking pocket.
Out of your pocket.
My pocket, my agent's pockets. Because eventually I went to a platform where they're on a monthly recurring subscription for the leads that they're buying, but it was all my money up front. Like I think I spent like it was like 2.4 million of my own money before I started acquiring the agents being on subscription in order to then scale. But I still would pump my own money into it.
Yeah,
but
of course.
A bulk of the money was because of my agents, because of the quality of the lead. So I started noticing certain things were happening with the lead company. I decided to take back control, hire a data scientist named Eric Perez. I stole him from eXp Realty. He built the fastest growing brokerage in eXp Realty history. Stole him. Data scientist comes in, recreates my website, gets us ranked on Google. We start doing some SEO stuff the last 4 weeks. One of my just fucking videos got 10,000 views in the last 3.5 weeks organically on YouTube without any ads being ran.
Shorts?
Yeah, just small. Yeah, Shorts videos already had.
I'm telling you, bro. Wait till LinkedIn.
Right.
Reels.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
so
excited.
Shout out the guys at Flying Goat, like Jason Skeldon. Spence. I'm about to be working with them on LinkedIn. Like I'm doing a lot of partnerships, and because I always like to throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. So if guys are like doing, okay, cool, I'll see it. But if I can do it better, I'm going to take back control. But hey, you're doing something well, I will pay you to do it, so I don't have to think about it, and I can focus on what I'm really well at. So right now, man, and this is the first time I'm really announcing all of this, and because I want to cut this up and do reels as well. So I am making a play so I'm the CEO of Insurance Elevated. I named Eric Perez, my CTO of Insurance Elevated, as CEO of Elevated Leads because it's actually a true organization now. I mean, we're growing exponentially. We're working with other insurance agencies now, like they're buying our leads. Like it's super incredible. But I'm not a true CEO, man. Like I'm a wild card. I'm a motherfucker, right? Like I'm not the good news guy all the time. Like I'm the motherfucker that's going to be in your face. So I know I'm not the best CEO. So soon I will be stepping down. So I already got CEO of Elevated Leads, and it's worked incredibly because I don't make any executive decisions there. I just get on fucking camera and I do my thing and what I know I'm best at. With Insurance Elevated, I want to step out of that CEO role and I want to be the CMO. I want to be the CMO for both companies. So I want to then teach. So on Insurance Elevated side, I'm going to start building the other brands for the agencies that are under my platform, build their brands out and do content with them, show them how to proceed with proper hooks, bodies, call to actions, different recruiting ads, client acquisition ads, and start building their brands on that side. And then also do the content for our lead generation and only focus on that on both sides. So I'm definitely, in the market for a true general, like a CEO, COO position, hybrid that can really take over and be that new face. Cause I don't need that. Like, bro, that was cool last year. Like that was cool for about 5 months. Like all the recognition and the exposure and people say, oh yeah. That was cool for about 3-4 months. Right now I care about, okay, well, I'm not the best at this.
So why am I looking at this P&L right now?
Exactly.
Like, what
so that's me. Like
we spend this much in marketing.
I'm so fucking crazy that like I'm so fucking crazy that I don't even really know my financials. Like my CFO does, and he's like, Eric, like we need to put you on a budget. It's so funny because he calls me like 15 days ago, right? And you guys are gonna fucking laugh at this. Like anybody from Tampa watching this. So he calls me, he's like, Eric, you think I'm fucking stupid? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, we go out together. I know what the fuck West Shore Bar and Grill is. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, that's fucking Penthouse. He's like, stop spending 10 G's a night every time you're at fucking Penthouse. I'm like, damn, you got me, bro. I thought you was going to think it was like dinners and shit. He's like, no, motherfucker, stop. He's like, you have a budget. Like, but like, I take all my guys out. I like them to have a good time. And when I'm lit, I like to take out money and just throw it on strippers, just to say, hey, I got it. Like, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, real quick, my accountant, that's actually, no, I'm just kidding.
No, so that's what I like to do. And I like to take all my friends out because everybody knows Penthouse is more like a club and a strip club. So it's the only really place in Tampa that you can go, Kevin.
They have good food.
Yeah, they got good food. They got good fucking steaks, right?
I like the food.
Yeah. Even though I never ate there.
I've never.
But hey, at the end of the day, that's what I like to fucking do. And so even though I have Eric Perez as like a data scientist, like he always gets on me about like spending certain monies that like don't have a direct ROI, but I'm like an indirect ROI guy. Like I like to, bro, one relationship can get me a I'm really big, Kevin, on a one-to-many market. What one person can bring me many sales? There's no data in the world that can justify figuring out what person can get you many sales. I mean, yeah, you can go through organic file, you can do all this other shit, but like that's gut intelligence. And I know that better than anybody. So sometimes I have to make that executive decision and say, no, I know, like I spent fucking $65,000 last night buying 100 tickets to the Vault conference because I know it's going to be here in Tampa next year with Patrick Bet, David, Andy Elliott, all those guys. I spent 65 G's last night just so I could bring 100 agents.
Shout out to who's doing what's What's
Patrick
the name? Patrick's
Bet-David,
doing it,
the
right?
Vault Conference, going to
Yeah.
be in Tampa next year.
Is it going to be in Tampa?
And I was the first one. And I was,
because it's usually in Miami,
They
right?
called me, and Max Willett, a buddy of mine, who runs a huge sales team, just does what I do, insurance. And he was like, "Yo, you got to do this." And I admire Max's word, and I'm like, "All right, fuck it, I'll do it." So I spent the money too. Me and Max, we're probably going to fill half the fucking place up between his sales team and my sales team. So it's pretty cool, man. We've always had that mutual like admiration towards each other.
So we get in trouble for firm lunches. So we take the whole office out to lunch like all the time, like every day. I'm talking about like at least the minimum. The partners will go out, the other attorneys sometimes will buy lunch for the paralegals and stuff like that. One month, I think our lunches were like $10,000 or something like that.
That's I ain't never done a $10,000 lunch.
No, not one lunch.
That's another level.
For the month.
Oh,
for the
okay.
month. No, not one lunch.
I was saying, goddamn, how much Dom Perignon y'all brought?
Yeah. Penthouse lunch. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's all fun though, man. And it's all good, and you take care of your people, you know?
Your people are a reflection of you, and, you know, if they're making you money, man, and they're loyal in a free market where they don't have to be loyal, they can move to any other agency or anywhere they want, bro, to me, that moves mountains, because 10 years from now, they've stayed with me. I got to quantify the value of how much money they made me over 10 years. Yes, have I made the money too with the opportunity and everything that I've risked? And that's cool. But it takes two sides to tango, bro. So you have to look at that as well. So I'm willing to invest in them day in, day out. Like my top 3 agents for this year. So every year we do a President's Club trip, and I fund it. This past year, we went to Dominican Republic. We went to the casino, all inclusive. I paid for everybody. We did a whole yacht day with all 50 people with their plus ones. Great time. My top 3 agents are going to
get a massive
high five and reward. Okay, they just need to stay tuned for that. And it's just, bro, I fucking love doing that. You know, and shout out to Sugarcane Shane at fucking Tampa Jewelry and Pawn. Shout out to Paul Cifelli over there that always take care of me. Anytime an agent hits like $150,000 a month with our organization, like on their own pin, we buy them a fucking Rolex like that. We do. So it's pretty cool, man. We're always trying to find ways to get them paid in different avenues, because like in the insurance industry, on the life and health insurance side, you get paid 4 different ways minimum on each side. So 9 different ways. So all those people that try to like do taxes and real estate and insurance and business, shut the fuck up. You're not doing all that. You love posting that on social media, but I guarantee you, if I sat down and had a very intellectual conversation with you about even any one of those specific businesses, you don't know shit about fuck. You're gonna have to call somebody. So like this facade on social media, bro, has to stop with people like
Go into that,
bro. And I'm not going to go into specifically.
No, not any calling anybody out.
I'll just tell you, like it has to stop, man, because people are vulnerable right now, because there's a lot of people in the country that are looking for new opportunities, man. Like they're genuinely looking to take care of their fucking family. And then they go on social media and they start talking about it in their phone. So what does their phone do? It starts showing them these online coaches and all these people. But these motherfuckers ain't really about anything. They haven't made a real impact. They don't have a true nest egg. They don't have a real business.
I'm going to teach you e-commerce. I'm going to teach you.
And then they take their money, they fuck them over, they get rich, these guys get fucked over, their families go into an even deeper hole, and it's like, bro, come on, man.
So let me tell you this example, right? And you know what? The people that are making it, good for you. Section 8 housing is driving me absolutely bonkers.
I will say this though, there's a couple people that I know that are doing Section 8 housing, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, like they're pretty good at it. Like there's a guy,
handful.
There's a guy in insurance. His name's Isaiah. Like he's somebody who follows me. I follow him. Like he does really, and he has great tenants. And I'm like, dude, but that's like.
But you have to buy like 30 of them.
Well,
that's
he's very consistent. Like, don't get me wrong. Like this guy, like every month, he's like got a new. You know, he's very. But
Not
like one or two and trying to get rich off of that. It's the same thing in insurance, though. You got these guys doing ads like, "Oh, we can make you a millionaire off $100 a month IUL policy insurance." Like, I'm not out here like, bro. You know, and I even have my own agents that sometimes push the limit on. I'm like, guys, nobody's getting fucking rich off of IUL policy, $100 a month, right? You start with a $100 a month policy, and we have 6 to 12 month policy reviews, and we continue to show you how to add more, how to navigate here, how to strategically, put your money here, and we continue to build that relationship over time to eventually build a cash value bucket where you can loan against $100,000 at 4% interest when interest rates right now are 8%. Yes, you can become your own bank in the future, 7, 10, 15 years from now, not 1 to 2 years. I don't push that. A lot of people in the insurance industry tell you right from the start, 6 to 8%. No, it's a fucking lie. Like I show you the right way to do it over time throughout the years. Here's the difference, right? Like I'm very big on combating 401ks right now because 401ks fucking run out of money at 79 years old. Yeah. IULs pay you till 120 years old. Mm-hmm. So if you're anything like me, I plan on living past 79. So I want to know what strategic compounding safe place I have that accrues this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9% interest, over 7, 10, 15 years that I know I can rely on at age 79 all the way to age 120 whenever I decide to or whenever,
the call comes.
My call comes. Yeah. So there's different ways that you can do that. But that's why I got into the insurance industry because there's a lot of negatives, a lot of positives, but I tackle both.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story today. This was the least amount of questions that I've ever asked in an interview. And I'll say that I don't know. I'm excited to watch this multiple times because there was so much substance in here and so many things that if you look back on what Eric said, and I think, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but hard work is going to overcome a lot of things. You got to grind,
ethics, man. Common sense ain't really common now.
No.
Work ethic is not common, and people don't understand that shit ain't that complicated. It's that you're not willing to work that hard.
Correct.
Shit is not complicated. It's that you're not willing to put the 10,000 hours in that the person next to you is, and you want to blame anything and everything as to why you're not successful. Victim mentality. Man, I posted something like that on my story today. It's like, people, even in my own organization, they'll blame the leads, they'll blame their upline, they'll blame the training, the systems, the support, but they won't blame the fact that they walk into fucking work at 10 o'clock every day. Then they go to Starbucks at 11. Then they go to the gym at 12. Then they come back at 4 p.m. They took 4 hours off because they had to go see their girlfriend because she was going to get mad if they didn't come over. Then they stay until 5 or 6 and they're like, you know what? It's 5 or 6. I'll just do better tomorrow because I didn't get anybody on the phone. Now they just wasted a whole fucking day. And then the next day they come in and they start yapping to the other guys that are working like, oh, this shit sucks, this opportunity, this and that, when really you're the fucking problem. So, we really need to do a better job as men, as masculine men to check people, check our friends, check the individuals around us and really lead from the front.
Well, I am going to put all of your contact info in the description so you can follow Eric on Instagram and get a hold of him and his team if you're interested in getting involved in the insurance business. If you guys like this video, I'm the worst at this. Rob always in the corner always yells at me because I never do a good outro. Like and subscribe. Really helps growing the channel. Make sure you comment any thoughts that you have. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, man. Absolutely, it costs you absolutely fucking nothing to like and subscribe, so do that shit.
I appreciate it. And as always, it is not an accident that Eric is as successful as he is. We'll see you guys soon.
No pun intended.
There you go, right?
Thank you so much.
See you, man.
Appreciate you.